Hi, welcome to another lesson with Dr. Hill on building electronic circuits. And what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at the breadboard. The breadboard is a very handy device that's used to build prototype electronic circuits. And it's a very easy way for us to build a circuit, a simple circuit, so that we can analyze how circuits work. So let's have a look at the desk and we'll see that I've got a breadboard here on the desk for everyone to look at. Now, breadboards look kind of complicated initially. I need to put my reading glasses on because a lot of the text on this is a little bit small. They look a little bit tricky, breadboards, but in fact they're really quite simple. Now, this breadboard is actually divided into two parts. You'll see that there's a gap in the lines here, so we're just going to concentrate on maybe this side of it. You'll see that all of the holes in the breadboard, these are all little holes, and each of these little holes has an electrical connection in it. Now, the holes themselves are connected up to each other in different ways across the breadboard. So the first thing we want to look at is that all of the holes on the outside of the breadboard, you see there's a red line here that's continuous. Now that means that these holes here, all the way along here, the ones that I've coloured in red, all of those holes are connected to each other. So if I put a wire in here and connect that to a battery, and they can be a little bit tricky to get in, you just wiggle it until it gets in. Try not to force it too much, you break your wire. But that goes into that hole, and if I take another wire and stick it down here, then if I have a current coming through this wire, it will run along all of these holes here that are highlighted red and come out this wire. So those two pieces of wire are connected to each other. They are not connected to these holes here that I've highlighted in blue. So I can have a different circuit running along those holes, but those holes that are highlighted in blue are all connected together. Now, they put a blue line here to remind you that all the holes on that side are connected together, and a solid red line here to remind you that all of those holes are connected together. So how does that help us? Well, let's look into the center of the breadboard. We'll move these wires out of the way. What we have in the center is we have a whole bunch of columns, and each column, as you can see in this breadboard, has a number, and every single row has a letter. All right, so the simplest way to look at that is I've highlighted this one in green. This is column 39. Now, those 5 holes that I've highlighted in green are all connected to each other. All right, so I could take my wire from say my red line over here and connect it into one of the holes on 39. I can then take my wire that's connected to the blue line, and what I would have is an electrical connection that runs along the red line, hops over into column 39 and connects up back to the blue line. So as you can see, these breadboards are very useful for making little connections. Now, it's also important, I've lost a pin, so that fella's died. They are quite delicate, these pieces of equipment. So the column here, all of these are connected together, but column 39 is not connected to column 40. So I can have components with one leg in column 39 and one leg in another column, and those two legs are not connected to each other. They're separated. The other thing is we have this trough or trench along the middle of the breadboard, and on the other side of the breadboard we have similar columns, and they are not connected to anything on this side. So this side and this side are separate. They are not connected across this trench. So but again, we have the repeat of what's over here. Over here we have 5 pin positions that are connected together. I've highlighted them in green, and again we have a long connection here, a horizontal connection which is all connected together, and another one that is all connected together, and this is indicated by the long blue lines and the long red lines. Now, breadboards are convenient because a lot of electronic components come with pins on them, and those pins can be connected up using a female wire. So you can take a female wire and you can connect that up to one of those pins, and that works nicely. The other thing that you can do is that they're all spaced so that they fit into breadboards, as you can see. And usually you'll want these pins not connected together but connected separately. So I would take them and I would connect them across like that. And I would perhaps do it, just gently force it in. And so those 4 pins are now in columns 59, 60, 61 and 63. And then my component I can use. And that's it for a breadboard. So remember, in summary, the horizontal lines on the outside are all connected together. The red line is connected together. The blue line is connected together. Same thing on the other side. The red line is connected together. The blue line is connected together. In the center of the breadboard, we have 2 sets of columns. They are not connected across the trench, but each of the holes in one column, which I've highlighted in green, are connected together. So if I put a connection in here, it will be connected to anything I plug into those other holes. Same thing in all of those columns. We have coordinates so that if we want to write down our circuit, we want to write down the coordinates of our circuit later on, we can share that. So hopefully that's a good introduction to a breadboard. I want to move on and use this breadboard for making electronic circuits, so I hope that you made sense of that. I'll put a link in the description below to make sure that there is a few more videos on breadboards in case you didn't understand that, but hopefully that's done in less than 10 minutes and you'll be able to watch this video again if you didn't catch anything. I'll see you in the next lesson.